triple jewels together.
Page 4. Sanye Joda Zoge Jonam Lo Janju Bado Dane Jasu Je Dage Jinso Gebe Zonam Tola Benjuru Sanye Dubare Jo Sanye Joda Zoge Jonam Janju Bado Dane Jasu Dage Jinso Gebe Zonam Ge Dola Benjuru Sanye Dubare Jo Sanye Joda Zoge Jonam Chanjo bardo dane gyabsu chi dage jinso gebe sonam dola benjir sanje dubare shu. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, by my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, by my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until by my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Om ye dharma etu prabhavam hetum tesham data gato yevatat tesham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramana yesvaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham datha gato yevatat tesham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramana yesvaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava tum tesham datha gato yevatat tesham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramana yesvaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata, the cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Okay, so to summarize what we have done thus far, is that the where we are in the sleep of ignorance, miseries ensue. You agree? Where we are in the sleep of ignorance, miseries arise. You agree? When you wake up, the miseries in the dream stops. You agree? So from this what we see is that they say we can think of two beings, or we can think of one person. Two beings or two persons, one in the sleep, one in a waking state. One asleep has to go through the loss of freedom because of being under the dream, under the sleep. One waking up is
least affected, is zero affected by the contents of the dream to that person. Or, can you think of this? Or, you as an individual person, in the dream, when you're in the dream, you're affected by the dream, and all the fears, the nightmare, all these things happen. The same person wakes up, is freed from the contents of the dream. You agree? So from this, what we see is that whether you like to relate it with two different other persons or one person transitioning from one state, the dream, ignorance, to the state of wisdom. So you can relate it whichever way you like. For example, better would be you as an individual transitioning from the state of ignorance, from the dream to the state of waking state, which is the wisdom. So from this we see that the same person evolves. Same person evolves. For example, say I could see this young boy. Did you say raise hand? Raise hand. Good. This Salam, he was with me when he was very little age, I think 4 or 5. He and his parents and his sister, they were with me, very naughty. And then gradually I was seeing him growing. And then yesterday I was pleasantly shocked because that he asked a question. I was not expecting he to ask such questions. He has a very good question. So we see that there's a transitioning taking place. Somebody going through the transition from, say, the one state to the another state, from the state of the ignorance to the state of wisdom, from state of sleep to state of waking up. So, and this is what it is. So in between, it's not just one state, the ignorance and wisdom. Not just that. So the question which you remember asked this morning, say within the ignorance there are so many layers, very thick ignorance, extremely the thickened ignorance to a lighter and lighter and lighter ignorance, waking up, and then finally waking up, sometimes partial waking up, and then more and more, and then fully awakened. So there are many processes. So the same person can go through different phases, many phases are there. So with this, we see that now, this is the background information. It becomes very easy for us now. Okay, I'm reading the text. Ready? On page 7. Page 7. A Guide to the Bodhisattva's Life, Chapter 9. Page 7, do you see that? Page 7. Oh, it is page 7. Oh, 17, sorry, yes. I thought it was 7. Page 17. Page 17. You got it? But don't expect 1:7 written there. It's one before 18. One before.
We have 24. This is the distributed copy. And 20, I think it's 23.
23. Why? No, why different?
The page number is for 17 for you.
I know. Why? Why different edition?
This has been printed and given.
I see. That's interesting. Okay, I think this was the old edition. '24. Yes. Okay, this is 19. Okay. Yes. So page 23. So I don't know what happened. Okay. What I would suggest is that is there any extra copies? Extra copies? Extra copies. Yuri America. Okay. If possible, use the old one is 2019 edition, and if possible, use the 2024 edition. So we're checking if we have any extra copies. Okay, so let me go through this. Why there's a slight variation. Some editions, the editing works are done. Some edits you find extra in the 2024 version. First, let me just go through it now to save time. Okay, the text reads. The sage propounded all these branches of the teachings for the sake of promoting wisdom. Therefore, those who wish to pacify suffering should generate wisdom. So, what we said thus far is that okay, by the way, chapter 9 is the wisdom chapter, and chapter 8 is the chapter on the meditation. And chapter 8 is quite a lengthy chapter, and of course, chapter 9 is the most complicated chapter. Most complicated chapter, tough chapter. And chapter 8 is chapter on wisdom. So wisdom chapter, we see that it is split into two halves. The first half is the how to meditate, what are the conditions to be created for your meditation, what conditions are required, physical, mental. So all these are being explained. And okay, so raise your hands those who have the old edition 2019 version, and Lajana will give you the 2024 edition.
There is an announcement. They have edition 1, that's the oldest version. They have to replace it with the edition 2. It says edition 2 here.
Okay, so the easy way to see is that on the cover there it says edition 1 or edition 2. On the cover, if it is a 1, just change it to the edition 2. Just the raise hands, those who have the edition 1. There's the old version. Okay, more editions.
Edition 2 has the
What is it? What is edition 2? No, what's the problem? No, this is 19 month. I already got. Okay, raise your hands. Those who have the edition 1, have it changed? Okay, now all have the edition 2? Good. So what I'm saying is that chapter 8 is a chapter on wisdom. The meditation. And the chapter on meditation, chapter 8, is, you see that it's divided into two halves. The first half is about how to create conducive factors for your meditation. Like external factors, what are the external factors required? Your peaceful space, and not too far away from the town or so forth, where you can have more easy access to the basic necessities. And then mentally, how we need to cut off from the busyness of the household chores and so forth. So all these will be taught. All these are taught there. And the second half is what to meditate, because the chapter is on meditation. So the first half is what kind of conditions to be created for meditation, and the second half, what to meditate on. So then Bodhisattva Shantideva explained the wisdom, the bodhicitta. What to meditate on, Bodhisattva Shantideva taught the bodhicitta in the second half of the meditation chapter. Then with the bodhicitta, what is that bodhicitta? Is there anybody who likes to tell us in few words what is bodhicitta? Facts. Facts? Good.
Just facts.
Yes.
Bodhicitta is the wish to alleviate suffering from all living beings and reach enlightenment.
Good. Good.
Thank you.
Okay, here. This is Sheila. Sheila, thank you. Thank you.
Bodhicitta is the wish to reach enlightenment for the benefit of all dear Mother Sentient Beings.
Okay, how two of them said is much more the same, but say if you have to put it very succinctly, would be like what? Yes, over here.
Bodhi means enlightenment, Chitta means mind.
Okay, this is etymology. Thank you so much. So well done. Thank you. So, say the mind, the primary mind or the mind, to make it very simple, a primary mind or a mind which wishes or which aspires to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, this is bodhicitta, to be very succinct. And then, of course, all debates are there, right? You want to go into debates or no debates? Sometimes, initially, if you go into debates, then you will lose track of everything. So when you are somewhere, when you reach somewhere, then you go into debates, that will be very helpful. But initially, don't go for debates. Initially, try to gather some facts, babysitting, right? When you could hardly walk, don't say, what is that? What is his name? Usain Bolt? Usain Bolt, who's he? Who's this guy? The sprinter, right? So, Usain Bolt runs so fast, you run, you will collapse. Right? So for the time being, don't go into too much debate. So those who are already exposed to, say, the Buddhist philosophy to some extent, at least like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you can go into this debate, it's fine. But then going for debate is more helpful. It'll fine-tune your understanding. But if you're a beginner, and the people who are already exposed to Dharma well, to the beginners, don't throw all the debates. If you say like this, then this, then they'll get lost. And then they will be demoralized. You think that you're doing service to the Dharma, you are being is a disservice to the Dharma, because you are putting off the people from having interest in the Dharma. This is extremely, we should be very careful not to be of disservice to the Dharma. Okay, don't bring the debates for the time being in the group discussion. And if the group discussion they say you have any problems, let me know. The Venerable Chuingla will help us to identify which group has any problems. But don't expect that group discussion means, wow, everything, all the problems in the class is solved. Don't expect that. So just to brainstorm, and if you have some questions which are quite challenging, and even you're in a group, it is not settled, bring on my table. Okay, good. So then what we meditate on is the bodhicitta as taught in meditation chapter 8 of Guided Bodhisattva's Way of Life, bodhicitta. With the bodhicitta, then what is bodhicitta? The desire or the aspiration to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, now let's say that you succeed in this practice. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, so it is aspiration. Aspiration means that you aspire, may I. But when you say may I, you have to do something. What should we do to actually make it happen? You have to do something. You have to remove the mental dirt, because the Buddhahood is actually there within us. But we don't say that I am Buddha. We have the Buddhahood actually there, meaning that it is in the form of a seed, or is in the form of a potential obscured by the metal defilement. So our job is what? If you have a diamond, mix the mixed with mud, what is your job? To put diamond outside, or you what? What should you be doing? To cleanse it, to clean this diamond, remove the dirt. That is your job. Buddha is already there within us. Remove the dirt. So some people say that you are a Buddha. That's not true. You are not a Buddha. but you have the potential to Buddha. Remove the dirt and then you are a Buddha. So the dirt, what is that dirt? So this dirt is of two kinds. One is they say the solid dirt, and the other one is very subtle dirt. So the dirt referred to as the obscurations, mental defilements, obscurations. And obscurations, there are two kinds. One which is very solid like, referred to as the afflictive obscurations. In Tibetan, Myundip. And then the other one, subtle one, is known as cognitive obscurations, Shedip. Myundip, Shedip, afflictive obscurations and cognitive obscurations. So now you already have, now I'm going from the start. You already have all the background information. Now it becomes very easy for us. Say the gross one, gross mental defilements, also referred to as the afflictive obscurations. While there are so many afflictions or so many mental defilements, why we classify them into two groups is because that we have two aspirations, we have two goals. One goal is fearlessness, technically referred to as nirvana, and the other one is infinite happiness, technically referred to as Buddhahood. We have two goals. And who's that? Boys or the girls? Huh? All. The believers or non-believers. All. Buddhists and non-Buddhists. All. Rich, poor, educated, uneducated, young, old. Everyone aspires for these two goals. So, but the fact is that, say, you squeeze a handful of sand. Do you expect oil coming out of that? No. Don't expect oil coming out of the handful of sand. Squeeze a handful of sunflower seeds. Oil just come out. Why there's a difference? Anyone quick? You know the answer, I know. Huh? So, the handful of sunflower seeds, they have the nature of the oil inside, whereas the handful of sand does not have the nature for the oil. So for us, squeezing of which or putting effort, the Buddhahood comes out. There should be the nature of the Buddhahood inside us. If we don't have the Buddhahood nature inside us, no matter how much we put effort, we cannot become enlightened. May I become enlightened. May I become Buddha. So there should be something inside us, each one of us. So that potential is known as the Buddha nature, or the seat of perfection is within everyone, whether you're Buddhist or non-Buddhist, it doesn't matter. Everybody has this potential. So this potential, within that, it has the two elements. We can dissect into two, which can manifest in the form of fearlessness, which can manifest in the form of infinite happiness. So fearlessness referred to as nirvana, and infinite happiness referred to as the Buddhahood. So since that there are two goals that we aspire, and we have the potential also, and why we don't manifest these two goals? Because there are two obscurations. So the obscurations, mental defilements, are classified in two for that reason. So the first class of the obscuration referred to as afflictive obscurations, the presence of this blocks us from attaining nirvana, fearlessness. And the subtle one, referred to as the cognitive obscurations, presence of this blocks us from attaining Buddhahood. Okay, this is a basic information that way. Now to go a little deeper, say, how would you distinguish between these two things? How can we see the distinction between these two things within us? So a simple example is like somebody smashed a garlic in my mug. And let's say that I don't take garlic. And a person, you apologized. Say, I'm very sorry, I did it. And then you remove the solid garlic and wash it so well. So under the water, running water, you wash it so well, there's no solid garlic. You just see inside, there's no garlic there at all. All the solid garlic is gone. Smell it. They then smell it, then it still smells garlic. You getting it? So Just as the garlic has two sides, the solid garlic and the smell of the garlic. Likewise, the mental defilements, there are two forms. One is the solid garlic-like mental defilements, referred to as the afflictive obscurations, and the smell of the garlic-like mental defilements, referred to as the cognitive obscurations. So, the solid garlic, it stops us from attaining nirvana. Solid garlic-like mental defilements, referred to as cognitive afflictive obscurations, stops us from attaining nirvana. And the smell of the garlic-like mental defilements, referred to as cognitive obscuration, stop us from attaining Buddhahood. You got it? Okay, now, what is that afflictive obscurations? Afflictive obscuration, broadly speaking, afflictive obscuration. What examples you have? Broadly speaking, there are two. Contaminant karmas and afflictions, broadly speaking. But you already know the more detailed, not just the general, but the very broad, very detailed, you know that. And of the 5 points you learned from Arya Nagarjuna's text, ceasing karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from the conceptualization of the inappropriate tension, which in turn arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, and the elaboration ceases through the wisdom of emptiness. So 5 points. Of the 5 points, the first one is a resultant state, the miseries which we don't want. Now, these afflictive obscurations, they stop you from attaining a pleasant result, nirvana. So instead it gives rise to samsara. So samsara is a resultant state. So now this afflictive obscuration, within that we see the remaining 4. What the remaining 4? Contaminant karmas, afflictions, inappropriate tension, self-grasping ignorance. These 4 are included in the form of the afflictive obscurations. Okay, now you know that. Now what is next? So our job is to remove this. And this is not the only one. There's another one also. What is that? Cognitive obscuration. So what is a cognitive obscuration? What exactly is cognitive obscurations? So at best, for the time being, what I can say is that it is like the smell of the garlic-like mental defilements. Smell of the garlic-like mental, very subtle stains left by these afflictive obscurations. So, and then some of you may be wondering, some of you may even push me further. Tell me, what exactly is that? How can I see that within me? Right? So for this, this can be explained only, perhaps most likely on the 6th day, not before. At the moment, if I explain it, 6th day or on the 5th day, who's going to remind me? Raise hands. Who's going to remind me? Audrey, Viraj, 2, and okay, Kunchole, 3, and is it Randula? 4, over there, then Shambhala, what's your name, the lady there? Suzanne, yes, and here your name, Walithar, oh, your name? Vladar, thank you. Okay, so there are the residents again, those who volunteered. Okay, look at them. Look at them. Why? Because if I leave this retreat place to Delhi without explaining this, I'm not responsible. These people are responsible. You're getting it? They did not remind me. Okay. So to remind me, you have to have some question to remind me. What is that question? Huh?
What are cognitive obscurations?
Okay. Anyone else? Louder with the mic.
Ну, в чем и как проявляется вот это вот тонкое, да, загрязнение, завеса, да, всеведения?
How and in what these subtle defilements, the cognitive obscurations are manifested.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? To remind me, you have to know exactly what is the question. Okay, Sanjukta. The mic.
How can I observe the subtle stains from afflictive obscurations in me?
Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, those who raise their hands, raise hands. Okay, yes.
Меня зовут Анна, и вопрос ваш был такой: как я узнаю, что эти завесы есть у меня?
My name is Anna, and your Geshe question was, how can I know that these obscurations are within me? These subtle obscurations are within me.
Good. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Viraj.
Geshe, the question is, what exactly is cognitive obscuration and where in my body can I find it, in my body and mind? Body and mind can I find it? Like where over here can I find it?
Okay, okay, Kunjole. Okay, Kunjole.
Geshe, the question is, what is cognitive obscuration and how can I identify them?
Okay, good. Okay, Benla.
Geshe, I think the question is, what example do you have for cognitive obscuration?
Okay, what example? Okay, good. Overall is correct. Overall is good. Thank you. Okay, so this is your question. You have to remind me this question. So, having said this now, we have covered many important points. Now, as we read this, you will see that some points I need to elaborate even more. So this will keep it for some later times. And otherwise, it's now easier. So what is your job? From what have you learned thus far, what is our job? Our job is to wake up from the sleep of ignorance. Wake up from sleep of ignorance. And that too, of course, in reality, we have to go through different phases of the waking up. You getting it? Okay. So it says that Chapter 8 is about the meditation. It says the content of the meditation is what? Bodhisattva, may I become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. So we have to do something to become Buddha. What should we be doing? We have to remove the mental dirts. And the mental dirts there are two: afflictive obscurations and cognitive obscurations. And in both cases, the remedy lies in the wisdom of emptiness. So we have to meditate on the wisdom of emptiness in order to eradicate the mental defilements so that the Buddha inside will manifest. So our job is to awaken the wisdom of emptiness. That is our job. So now let's see. Verse number 1. The sage propounded all these branches of teachings, meaning that the Buddha taught 84,000. It says that 84,000 the branches of teachings. The sage propounded, sage here refers to the Buddha, propounded all these branches of teachings, 84,000 teachings, for the sake of promoting this wisdom to wake us up from the sleep of ignorance, wisdom. Therefore, those who wish to pacify suffering, and who wants to pacify suffering, who wants to remove your suffering, raise hands? Who wants to stop their tears, raise hands? Wants to stop the tears? All of us. Therefore, those who wish to pacify suffering should generate this wisdom of emptiness. You're getting it? So it's so important that just let us try to go beyond the traditions. Let's try to go beyond my tradition, his tradition, your tradition. Go beyond and cultivate the wisdom to wake up from the sleep of ignorance so that my miseries will come to an end. Not for nothing to do with you, my tradition, his tradition, her tradition, so forth. It's about my well-being and the well-being of all the beings. That is the point. Therefore, those who wish to pacify suffering should generate wisdom. This is so wise. Particularly, I wish that some people, that and of course, many of the people who do Narada studies, when they start to find some ground of understanding, wow, this is amazing. The legacies led by the Narada masters is just amazing. When they felt that, one thing that always many of them commonly tell me is that why am I so late in meeting with this teaching? Why that meeting with this teaching happened so late in my life? Why? You getting it? So, which means that, and then when these people, when they see the young people, young ones, in the teenagers and the young adults, like age 20s, when they see them, they just wish that you just focus on these teachings, that your miseries will come to an end. And otherwise, whatever we are doing, they're meant to curb our miseries, to minimize the misery, mitigate the power of the miseries. And the best way by which you do so is that this amazing wisdom taught by the Buddha. Okay. So next, the question arises what? So it says that therefore those who wish to pacify suffering should generate wisdom. If this is how somebody opens the teaching, what would be the next question? How or what is this wisdom? What is this wisdom? Right? So what is this wisdom? So wisdom, by the very definition, is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. This is wisdom. Let me repeat it. Wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. What's your next question? What is the reality? You getting it? What's the reality? So reality is then explained here, verse number 2. Conventional and ultimate. Conventional reality and ultimate reality. Conventional truth and ultimate truth. So these are the two realities, these are the two truths. Conventional and ultimate, these are accepted as being the two truths. These are two realities that we have to know. The ultimate is not the object of dualistic mind. The dualistic mind is spoken of in relation to the conventional truth. So this requires a detailed explanation, and we will just leave it for the time being. We'll just leave it for the time being. But this is the core. This is what we have to explore. What is reality? So these are the two realities which we explore. And many people, because did you notice something here in this? Some bracket is there. The bracket. What is in the bracket is the translator's edition. In other words, annotation. The translator's edition. So, which means that say if you find what is put in the bracket is redundant, is not really required, you can take it out, because you can deliberately, the translator, in this case, I'm the translator, I translated this, so deliberately it is put in the bracket to tell you that don't mix up the root text, root words, and the translator's annotation. Don't mix up the two. So if you are not happy with something there, you cannot compromise with what is not in the bracket. These are the words of the author. But what is in bracket, if you are not too happy with it, you can delete it. This is a translator's edition. You're getting it? This is why some people, some translators, they're too liberal, meaning that they add words thinking that author meant that, and add words and not qualifying that in the bracket. So the people are confused, which are the actual words of the author and which are the edition of the translators. They cannot. So this is the reason why they put in the bracket. And so if we read it literally without the translators, the annotation, it says ultimate is not the object of mind. Ultimate cannot be understood by the mind. Many people take it too literally, and because of which they say that you cannot realize emptiness. Emptiness cannot be realized through studying, right? You just meditate, it comes, right? And your mind cannot see that. So all these misconceptions can come because of their failure to study the the Acharya Bodhisattva Shantideva's text, Nagarjuna's text very systematically. They did not study this, they just read it and say that, they concluded saying that ultimate reality is not to be seen by the mind. You're getting it? So these are all the misconceptions because of their failure to study the great traditions so well. And then people, particularly people with a modern education, they read Nagarjuna's text for like 2-3 days, and then conclude that Nagarjuna is nihilist, Nagarjuna is idealist. You're getting it? But the great masters in the monastic universities who study for years and years, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, the moment they see the utterance of the Nagarjuna's verses, even single lines, one verse, they just go into goosebumps to see the wonder, the depth of this. And some people, they're too quick to say that in 3 days they say Nagarjuna is nihilist or idealist. So this is very unfortunate on the part of the individuals who do not get a chance to study them very systematically and then make conclusions, the rash conclusions, and that puts an end to their own growth. So it stops them from seeing the wonder, the jewels of Nagarjuna's thought. And just the glimpse of this experience would give goosebumps on the body. Would see that, okay, now I see this is the meaning of liberation. Get a glimpse of this, and your mind could feel the peace, absolute peace, uncontaminated happiness. You know, something of the similitude of uncontaminated happiness. You could feel that. So because of which, then you see that this is the ultimate hope for the liberation. Okay. So the second line, we have to go into deeper. Number 3. So now what I said is that say one person in the dream, one person in the waking state. So here it says, in light of that, the world is seen to be of 2 types. 2 types. The world meaning not the external world, the beings. The beings are of 2 types. One who is in the sleep, in the dream, and one who is outside the dream, who is waking up. The two types of beings. In light of that, the world or the beings is seen of 2 types: the yogis and the common people. Common people meaning those who are in the sleep of the ignorance, and the yogis meaning those who are awakened, or some of them are in the process of awakening, right? In the process of awakening. In the process of awakening, some are partially awakened, and some are still pursuing through, and some are fully awakened. So all these people who are going into this direction, we call them yogis. Yogi doesn't mean that somebody who can do exercise so well, physical exercise. You getting it? So I'm a yoga master, right? I'm a yoga master means you are a yogi. You're not a yogi, right? So in India, what is this word yoga? Yoga. It means meeting with the reality. Hitting the essence, meeting with the reality. This is the meaning. So meeting with the reality is not the physical body, but the physical body does not make you meet with the reality. It is your mind which will meet with the reality by seeing the reality. So then what is the physical body? What is the physical exercise all about? Physical exercise, they will affect your first biology, and this will affect your physiology, and the physiology will affect your subtle energy, and the subtle energy affect your subtle mind. Subtle mind will then affect your grosser mind. So this is the correlation. And the grosser minds initially you use the grosser minds, and whatever you know through grosser minds, these are being, then you say the same content, but the subject, the grosser, you change it from the grosser to the subtle, because you have the experience of the subtle. So the physical exercise, particularly not just any gym, but what we call yoga, very standard yoga. So these are meant to make your physiological, the movement supple. So that will make your subtle energy supple. Then the subtle energy is being activated. When that is activated, subtle mind is activated. So finally, that ultimate reality as the object, at first you have to see that through your, say, the gross mind. Whatever you have seen through the gross mind, then you activate the subtle mind. And then you use the subtle mind to see the ultimate reality. How to activate the subtle mind? There are so many ways of activating the subtle mind. So physical exercises, they help you. It's not that you have the physical and subtle mind is activated. No. Subtle mind has to be active. For example, good health. You need good food. Doctor? Good food, right? So you have so much of stress, complication. Oh, the doctor said good food, they give good food, but your health keeps going down. Mental, physical, both both contribute to your good health. So therefore, let's say the activating of subtle mind by activating subtle energy. So it has so many factors required to activate it. So the yoga is that. But the real yoga is the physical yoga converted to, transmitted into the mental yoga. That is the real yoga. So here it says that, verse number 3, in light of that, the world is seen to be two types, the yogis and the common people. Common people meaning those beings who are still in the dream, still understood the dream, being affected by the dreams. And the yogis who either, the most refined yogis are the fully awakened one. The highest of the yogi is the Buddha. When you become a Buddha, you become the highest level of the most sophisticated yogi. So, and there are who are pursuing to attain that state in this direction. So anybody who's going to this direction, these we can call as the real yogis. Okay, so yogis. So from this, can you imagine that within the yogis, if this says people who are pursuing in this direction to wake up, in the process of waking up, and those who are fully awakened. So they are going through some process, some in a partial awakening, some still in a further awakening, and some fully awakened. All these we call as the yogis. If that is the case, would you agree with me that within the yogis, there are differences in the sophistication of the realizations? Do you agree? Not agree? Good. So many people, they said, he is a yogi. Yogi means a Buddha, fully awakened one. This is too naive. You're getting it? Within the yogis, there are so many layers there. So let's read. Line 3. In light of that, the world is seen to be two types, yogis and common people. And regarding that, the world of common people is undermined by the world of yogis. Those who are sleeping and waking up, those who are awakened, or who are going in that process of waking up, who is better? The people who are going in this direction of waking up, that is better in comparison with those people who are inflicted by the dream. Yes? So the yogis supersede the common people. This is meaning. It's not that, oh, the yogis, they're better than us, we're ordinary people with no hope. No. You as a common person, you as a yogi, you're getting it? Each one of us, you as a common person, and when you go in the direction of waking up, you become a yogi. So when you become a yogi, that far excels you as an ordinary person, common person. And regarding that, the world of common people is undermined by the world of the yogis. Now, within the yogis, number 4, through differences in their intelligence, within the yogis, again you see that the baby yogi, a toddler yogi, and teenager yogi, and the young adult yogi. Yes, there's a toddler. And then the experienced yogis, right? Okay, so there's so many, again, yogis. So what is that? So where do you qualify? We qualify in all, provided we put effort. If you don't put effort, we don't qualify anyway, not even a baby yogi. So we have to go through this. So this is a transition. We went through all these processes ourselves as a newborn child, then as a toddler, then as a teenager. 4, through differences in their intelligence, in the intelligence of the yogis, the views of the yogis too are undermined by the progressively the higher ones. The higher yogis, more advanced yogis, they undermine the spiritual realizations of the lower yogis. Simply because somebody is meditated doesn't mean that the person is fully enlightened. Sometimes this is, we're being too naive, too naive. Because somebody meditated for like 3 years, 4 years, they see that this full awakened, enlightened and so forth. This is too naive. So read these, and then you will know. You will know the reality more closely. And then this is how we have to proceed through the path. And then there's a danger that when people say you sit for retreat for like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and then people come to respect you, they see you as it's amazing, enlightened one, amazing, right? And then you're actually a baby yogi, right? But you're way better than the common people, common person. And then the common people, they cannot see the difference between you and the highly realized beings. They don't see difference. For example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, always in the residence of palace, going to say they give teachings in abroad, 5-star hotel, and so forth. But even the people we call as yogis, really respected by everyone, when they meet with His Holiness, they see that the superiority of His Holiness in terms of realization. They could see that instantly. They surrender. They spend 30, 40, 50 years in the mountains, just meditating on Bodhisattva, wisdom and so forth. When they see His Holiness the Dalai Lama, they could see the difference there. They themselves see that they are nowhere close to his realizations. You're getting it? So His Holiness, he went in this process so many lifetimes ago. So now it's just in the process of benefiting beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all the beings. So this is the process for the benefit of all the beings. That is now in the ripening state of His Holiness, ripening in the ripening state of actually benefiting beings. These realizations are there. So that is, at that stage, then it transcends. So, and then you say, whereas, say, we sit for some, retreat, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and people, they can't see this distinction between you and His Holiness, right? So one time, people, they see His Holiness and people address His Holiness, they say His Holiness. And some people, they're too naive. And then one time, I was invited for a conference and there was a minister. There was a minister also there as the guest. And then he addressed me. He thought that every monk or nun should be addressed as His Holiness. In her address, she said that His Holiness Geshe Dorji Damdul. Too naive. Too naive. You're getting it? So this is problem. So therefore, if you see this text, if this text makes sense to you, that within the yogis there are so many layers, right? So and then the worst part is that if you're a baby yogi, right? And the people say, you're the yogi, and the baby yogi thinks that you're a yogi, right? Right? A real yogi will never do like this, I'm a yogi, will never do like this. Baby yogis will do that. Particularly when the followers, the number keeps increasing. Then there's a great yogi, right? Then the baby yogi does like this, I'm a yogi, right? This is a problem. This is a problem. So it's not just somebody else. Each one of us, there's a danger. Each one of us, we should be extremely careful, particularly when you grow in this direction. When you go in this direction, there will be people who admire you. There will be people who will try to pull you down. There's so many kinds of people there. When the number of the people who admire you keep increasing, don't get inflated that you are somebody. This is a danger. This is where we really need to be careful. When more and more people come to admire you, don't think that you are that person. You're getting it? Sometimes your friends can inflate, your friends can exaggerate your qualities. And then many people will come and they think that you are somebody. They actually say that, address that, and you see these advertisements that you are somebody realized, and you think that I'm realized, right? I'm realized. So when you think that you are realized, the Buddha said, if you think you are a Bodhisattva, you are not a Bodhisattva. This is what the Buddha said. These are the warnings that we need to remember. Okay. So number 4. Through differences in their intelligence, the views of the yogis too are undermined by the progressively high ones by means of Okay. So in this connection, for those people who are going in that direction of waking up, that there's so many phases. There's so many phases of the waking up. And for example, like the Buddha taught the 4 schools. What are the 4 schools? Philosophical schools. Vaibhashika, Sautrantika, Chittamatra, and Madhyamaka. Within Madhyamaka, Savatantrika Madhyamaka and Prasangika Madhyamaka. We need to learn all these things, particularly those who are new and don't feel demoralized, thinking that, oh, everybody knows everything and I don't know anything. Don't feel that. You should be feeling so happy, so fortunate that I'm amidst the people who already spent so many years. So you, without having to spend all these years, and you are learning the same thing. You are very fortunate. You're very fortunate. And they spent 4 years. You did not spend 4 years. 4 years you have been doing something else. Now you're in the same boat, in the same class, in the same group discussion. You're very fortunate. Instead of feeling demoralized, feel fortunate. If you're very young, and you see that, oh, these people, they're already, they often 30, 40, 50 years old, and still they're struggling. So I'm so lucky that I'm with them. That I get the chance to study what they are studying. I'm so lucky at this age, early age. You should be feeling so fortunate instead of feeling demoralized. This is very important. Okay, so the Buddha taught these 4 schools, Vaibhashika, Sautrantika, Chittamatra, Madhyamaka. Within Madhyamaka, Savatantrika Madhyamaka and Prasangika Madhyamaka. And so we see that we are expected. So the yogis it says, yogis too undermined progressively by the higher ones. So the yogi with the level of the Sautrantika philosophy will undermine the yogi of the Vaibhashika philosophy. Yogi of the Chittamatra level will undermine the yogi of the Sautrantika philosophy. Yogi of the Madhyamaka philosophy will undermine the yogi of the Chittamatra philosophy. You getting it? And then within Madhyamaka, yogi of the Svatantrika Madhyamaka will supersede the yogi of the Prasangika Madhyamaka. So this is how the transitioning happens. Okay. And for example, if you look at the earlier the narratives, the anecdotes, the incidents, stories of the past masters, there were great debates happening. The really realized beings, debates among them, not in the fighting mode, but actually in the form of discussion and debate. So, for example, like Acharya Chandrakirti and the great master, the Chandragomi, Acharya Chandrakirti. Acharya Chandrakirti is the Prasangika, Madhyamaka philosopher and a highly realized master. And Acharya Chandragomi, again a great master of Chittamatra philosophy. Both of them are highly realized in their realizations. And then at one point, the Acharya Chandrakirti, he was giving teachings in Nalanda. Then Acharya Chandragomi happened to pass by. And Acharya Chandragomi kept standing and watching. And how long? The whole session, like 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, he kept standing. And common people will, for fun, they'll just keep standing what is happening in 5 minutes, and they cannot stand more than 5 minutes, they will leave. But somebody standing there for like whole 2 hours, 3 hours. And from his body language, Acharya Chandrakirti sensed that he could actually follow what he is teaching. The man who was standing could actually follow what Acharya Chandrakirti was teaching From his body language, from his facial expression, he could sense it. Then Acharya Chandra asked, may I know who you are? This is what he asked. And then Acharya Chandra was wondering, perhaps it is Acharya Chandra Gomi. Are you Acharya Chandra Gomi? Then he said, people call me with this name. Right? Then Acharya Chandra said, please, you are highly acclaimed, such a great master. Don't come like uninvited. Please go back to your place and I will extend a proper reception to you. So the next day, Acharya Chandra organized a whole procession of the monks to invite Acharya Chandra Gomi. And invited, served tea, and then debated. Started debating. Because Acharya Chandra Gomi was holding the philosophy of Chittamatra, and Acharya Chandra Kirti is holding the philosophy of Madhyamaka, particularly Prasanga. The two of them started debating, and it is said that the history has it, the legend has it that two of them debated for like 7 years. 7 years. And debating, so the more advanced yogis supersede the yogis of the lower level. So Acharya Chandra Kirti, when he asked questions, profound questions to Acharya Chandra Gomi, Acharya Chandra Gomi would not have answers on the spot. And the next day, he would come with brilliant answers. Next day, the Acharya Chandra Gomi would come with brilliant answers. It happened on several occasions. So Acharya Chandra Kirti started to wonder, somebody must be teaching this guy. Somebody must be guiding this guy. I want to check who that is, because he doesn't have the spontaneous answers, very profound answers the next day. Somebody must be guiding him. So after the debate, one day, after the debate, Acharya Chandra Kirti started to follow Acharya Chandra Gomi. Confidentially, secretly, he followed him. And then Acharya Chandra Gomi ended up going into a very old chapel, old shrine, old chapel, and closed the door. And Acharya Chandra Gomi forgot to latch the door. So Acharya Chandra Kirti was eavesdropping. And he could hear two persons talking. And all the questions which he asked was being discussed there between these two. And somebody was telling, you have to say like this. If this question comes, you have to answer like this, like this. Who is that guy? Right? He just made a surprise slam. He slammed the door and he saw Arya Avalokiteshvara teaching Acharya Chandra Gomi. So then Arya Avalokiteshvara, because it was a surprise, the door slammed. So Arya Avalokiteshvara pointing his finger like this, right? And he could not withdraw his finger like this and went back into statue, like this. Then Acharya Chandra Kirti complained to Arya Avalokiteshvara. You are Avalokiteshvara, the one with the universal compassion. Universal meaning compassion towards all the beings. But today you are biased. You are teaching this guy and not me. Then Arya Avalokiteshvara came back alive. He became like a living Arya Avalokiteshvara, and he said that you do not require my help. This guy requires my help. Okay, so these are the things. For example, say, in terms of the samadhi, meditation, concentration, and so forth, both are highly sophisticated. But philosophy-wise, Acharya Chandra Kirti far excels in the philosophy in comparison with the Acharya Chandra Gomi. So therefore, Acharya Chandra Gomi was getting stuck when Acharya Chandra Kirti asked questions. Okay, we stop here. Tiyata Om Gati Gati Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam gate Bodhisvaha. 3 prostrations together.
Muniye Swaha. Om Muni Muni Maha Muniye Swaha. Om Muni Muni Maha Muniye Swaha. Om